It's a bad time in this meat sack some days.
I got big ideas.
My stuff is too unique.
How tall am I?
No, it was the room like erupting into song.
I gotta make sure nobody took all my stuff.
Oh, hi. Welcome to Sewing Nerd Studios. I am Jo, and this week we're actually recapping like a whole month of time because, trigger warning right up front, I deal with some medical stuff throughout this, and I end up having to bail on a market that I was so excited about. And then I end up doing another market that went well like the following weekend, and I got to premiere some new display bits that I'm really excited about, both decoration and for actually like holding inventory. I'm in the middle of working on a batch of like 60 little keychain bags, which may be too many because I already have like 40 or so in my inventory. But when you're seeing this, I'm probably actively setting up my display for Granitecon, which is Saturday and Sunday, so the 21st and 22nd of September 2024. I'm so glad it's just Saturday and Sunday this year because normally it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And I just don't want to do that anymore. I promise I'm not trying to careen myself into the ground with overdoing it. This has taken me most of the week to do these. I also did a new batch of card wallets, and I have dumpling pouches prepped. I'm not likely gonna get a lot of these made, but I can work on prepping them while I'm cat sitting tomorrow, in addition to at the event, if I need something to do with my hands, which I often find comfort in keeping myself busy with little things. And then it's a little bit of interest for people if they see something on my display and they see me actively making it. Like, it's not obvious to everybody that my stuff is made by me, which I try to take as a compliment. So just a heads up, this is particularly all over the place. I've been filming this for a long time. I'm really glad I waited to do this bit until after I had edited everything else because I did not remember what I had worked on. So I want to make sure you know what we're getting into. So there's display upgrades, talking about just what it's like doing events, which are very physically involved, let alone the physical labor that goes into making the stuff that I'm selling. The actual pop-ups can be pretty grueling, and I definitely have days where I'm less confident in my ability to get through them. I literally blacked out at the hospital the night before this like 10-hour market, plus setup and drive time and breakdown and drive time on either end of those. So that was the spooky bitch market I was so excited to do. That didn't end up happening. We're like, I'll get into it later in the video, but I just wanted to give you a heads up if that's gonna like wig you out, me talking about it. I don't get into like super details, but it's more about just the emotional side of things and how good I've been doing with my like mental care. So that ended up being like a good thing. Everything's been fine. I'm feeling okay. And speaking of feeling okay, I'll pop in and let you know. But later in the video, I talk about how Bert was having kind of a tough time, and then I don't give any extra information after that. He's doing totally fine. He is a little old man. He's 16 and a half. He's gonna have struggle days, but for a 16 and a half year old dog, he's trucking right along. Oh, and in honor of Bert, I do have little cowboy weens for some of the bags I'm putting together. I think I have like a saddlebag purse, a dumpling pouch, and then a couple keychain bags of that print because it's too good not to, amongst so many others. This has been a really fun batch of stuff to put together. I did finally sell the saddlebag that had this print on it, where I will probably make another down the road, but I love the little radioactive bunny. It's my very favorite. I think of all the fabric I've purchased, that's the one that makes me the happiest. All right, I'm gonna jump into some unboxings that happen where I open up some of the new display stuff and then just backup materials like a ton of zippers and the keychains I got to make this batch of bags and replace on the ones I had to pilfer for a custom order a couple weeks ago. Everything's totally fine. Everything's a-okay. We're fine. Today, I'm filming this on Thursday, the 20th? No, 19th. It's the 19th of September, almost at October. I am mostly really distracted because event this weekend, and also one of my very best friends is coming to visit next week, and I haven't seen her since 2016, so I'm kind of losing my mind a little bit in the best way. But I got to get through this weekend first before I can like relax and hang with her. So I will pop in a couple times throughout. And yeah, I hope you enjoy the video. Just have me on in the background or whatever. There's a time lapse of me setting up, but a lot of it is me talking through whatever. So kind of treat it like a little studio podcast, if you will. Okay, let's get into it. Okay, hi. I have packages for a display overhaul, and I want to show you the process of me putting all this together because I have like 10 days before my next event, and I really want to go hard with like leveling up my appearance at the event and make it like a special experience, you know? And I haven't always invested in that. I've been a lot better about it this year, but it hasn't always been my top priority. And I think it can make all the difference for the things. So I want to make it exciting to come into my booth, but not like overstimulating. So I have ideas and I have ordered some things to help execute those ideas. So I have 2 boxes. I did start putting together lists in like an Amazon storefront thing if you want to see the things that I have, and like obviously don't feel like you have to use the links I have shared if you want to like get inspiration from the lists I've put together in my Amazon like storefront. Is that what it's called? They are affiliate links, so I think I get some amount of something, but I think to like be part of that program you need to drive 3 sales every 6 months or something. So I don't know. I'm not stressed about it. But just if you happen to want one of the things and you use the link, that is a way to support me, I think. I am still obviously unsure. Okay. Okay. I got big ideas. All right, that must be the plant stand. Oh, I've been watching The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. I've seen the first season and a half, maybe, and we're getting into that time of year, and I just wanted something I could have on in the background while I'm prepping for the spooky months. Anyways, I got a plant stand where I think this is only gonna help my outdoor setups because I've had this basket, this like fruit basket, pantry basket thing. There's 3 tiers to it. I spent way too much time and money painting it, and not that it didn't help sell some more dumpling pouches, but it's like a little clunky, and obviously I'm not going to get rid of it or anything. If nothing else, I can just like use it in my shop or something. For the time being, it's not really suiting my needs. So I got a plant stand that's supposedly over 5 feet tall. And then I also have a spinning rack on the way. And I got that also to be like 5 to 6 feet tall. And that will be, I think, good to set up on the spot. So I can have both the plant stand and that spinning rack with a bunch of pegs on it out front. And then I'll have my bigger bags hanging from the frame and the dowels and the chains and stuff that I set up. So it'll be kind of like 2 levels. And then I'll have my table, I think, further forward. So it gives like an enclosed shopping space instead of people having to come way further into my space. And then like that gives me more room behind my table. I think that's going to work. And then if I can't put stuff out front of my tent, I can move everything in a little bit and it'll still work totally fine. It's the kind of thing that like only experience can help teach. So you gotta get yourself in the trenches to figure it out. And that's okay. It's all part of it. But the spinning rack, you can adjust the height of the tiers. I think there's 9 of them or something. So I was thinking, instead of having my grid cubes with the pegboards set up at the front, that takes up half of my table setup, I could take that spinning rack, just make a shorter version of it, and have that on my tabletop when I'm doing a mill number 5 event where I only have a 6-foot space and room for a rack on the side. But there's plenty of events where I only have room for my 6-foot table. So just trying to work within the parameters I'm given. Okay, I think this is what one of the shelves look like. This is actually like a decent size. And my thinking is it's gonna have a bunch of shelves sticking out to the side. They're kind of offset from each other. So it's not a big like footprint. It doesn't take up a lot of space around. It's just tall. And that's also what I was going for with the spinning rack. For right now, I have an abundance of mini bags, and that's kind of the focus. And I have a bunch of like wire baskets. So I think I'm going to put wire baskets on the shelves and maybe not even use the bottom ones. Just make it easier to shop. People don't have to like dig into stuff. You can just look through like a couple per shelf. I'm trying to be better about, I think, curating what I put out and not just having everything, because there's definitely psychology behind like decision fatigue and just like too many choices to make, being overwhelmed, and almost feeling like when there's too much to look at, it can look cluttered and just like not as pleasing of a shopping experience. If someone's really intrigued by certain bags and they're responsive when I like greet them, because I say hi to everyone. I'm just like, hey, how's it going? And then I kind of gauge my further interaction with them or lack thereof, depending on how they respond to me. Because if someone just wants to be left alone and not addressed, that's completely fine. I'm not going to be upset with that, because I'm not always in the mood to talk to someone, and it can be off-putting for someone to like constantly be barraging me with questions. This is why whenever I've gotten a gift card to Lush, I am proud of myself for this. But even like well before I started therapy, I would go in, and after like the second person approached me about something, because they want to, I don't know if they still do this since COVID came around, but they would like try to use the products on you and like wash your hands with the soap or rub the lotion into your skin, and like it's already overwhelming smell wise having too many people talk to me. So, and it's such an enclosed space that like I get very stressed out going to that particular store. And I've just said, because I assume people that work there are like gonna get it a little more than probably some other shops. So I've been like, hey, I am very anxious being out, so I promise I will ask you a question if I have any, but I am gonna need to just like do this on my own. Not that I go to Lush often, but the couple of times I've gone in and I have said that, everyone's been really cool about it. So if someone isn't really responding to my greeting, then I don't push it, but then I will put on like customer service voice, chat with them if they're pursuing things or like trying to ask questions or just commenting on things that they like about a bag. And then if they're really into this certain design, I'd be like, oh, actually, I have that in a slightly different color set. If you're interested, no pressure. I say that a lot, actually, because that way it doesn't feel like as forced of a sales pitch. And also acknowledging the fact that like, I'd like you to buy something for me, but obviously I don't want to like twist your arm into doing it. I want you to be excited about the thing. So it's just I'm not going to shove this in your face, but if you would like to see, I'm happy to share with you. And then depending on their response from there, I'll start taking the other options out and showing them, and they'll like run over super excited, or they'll just kind of wander off or like not really engage further. And I have a little like checkout stand I set up in my grid cube thing. So I'll just place things on there and like not try to hand it to them, but place it there. So if they want to grab it, they can, but then I'm not like forcing them to do anything. So there's no expectations for them to grab it and check it out if they don't like it. But again, the psychology behind if someone is wanting to check it out, there is something about a customer. And like, obviously this goes for me as a shopper as well. Making physical contact with the thing, like you immediately start to build kind of a rapport with the thing. Like there's a bit more of an emotional attachment once you're touching it versus just seeing pictures of it online or something. So also why I really like having stuff hanging. I mean, I want it to be easy to see what I have and easy for people to look through. So I'm not going to make you watch me build this. That's like the most expensive thing I have. No, actually, I think the spinning rack was probably more expensive. I think this was like $40. I think a spinning rack was closer to 50. I think it's going to be worth. I've seen a couple of people set it up and they use all 9 racks, but some of the stuff, it's so low that I don't see that being a practical use of the space. But I wanted the height. But I don't think I'm going to use more than like 4 or 5 of the rungs, even if I do have the whole thing out front, because I don't want it to look empty. Like racks in the store, typically, unless you're in like a Claire's, don't go to the floor. So I don't think I'm going to go to the floor. I haven't liked how it's looked on other people's setups, so I don't want to do it for mine. But we will get into that once I get that. I'm about to open the other box. I'm excited / more hesitant about some of the things I ordered because it was hard to gauge the size of everything, even measuring out the dimensions. It was still hard to like get it in my head. So we'll see. These are almost exclusively decorations. That's not true. There's 2 decorations and there's also keychains because I have made so many keychain bags and dog bag holders and card wallets that I'm out of key rings. Like I made a custom batch of dog bags for someone and I had to steal key rings from my inventory to have enough for that batch. So that is like a material restock. I believe I also ordered some more zippers. And to be completely transparent, I will be going away. You'll be seeing this well after I'm back from my trip. But I'm going away to Maine and I'm going to get to go to my favorite art store. It's like fabric and art supply. Literally any craft hobby you want to get into, but especially sewing stuff. They have everything. They have everything. There is not a single craft I could think of that they did not have supplies for. Wood burning tools, paper quilling, lino block cutting stuff, just like every type of marker, writing utensil, paint marker, fancy micron pens. They had the wax and the tool that you melt the wax in to do pisanki eggs. But yeah, like half the store is fabric and it's so cool. It's so cool. All right. I think this is, yeah. Please be good. Please be as exciting as I want you to be. You know what? This is fine. I think this was like $11, but the way it tapers in isn't really gonna work. That's what I mean. It was hard to figure out the dimensions because it didn't say how deep this was, and it also like would not show this part. So I didn't know what the general shape was. What I'm thinking looking at it now is I want this on my like checkout stand display part. And I think I'm gonna put like my business cards in it. I think that'll be a fun little accent. It's nice and low. It's not gonna take up a lot of the space. I don't think it'll make anything look cluttered because I often just like toss my business cards around the table, which I don't think looks bad, but having something like this I think would be fun. I like him. It feels unnecessary, but again, it'll like help with the vibe. Okay. I also got a light. Bat light. I didn't want just a bat. I don't want a jack-o'-lantern because like this feels more year-round than pumpkins. You know? Bats are evergreen. Oh, dang. Also, oh, this is fabulous. So the light comes out, right? So I think it's lightweight. I think it's literally going to be as easy as having my solid black grid cube panels and have my sign, which covers 2 of them because it's 2 feet wide, right? I think it's 2 feet wide. So I'll have that and then this next to it. This has a USB cord where every other light set I have, this cord goes directly into the battery pack. But this battery pack is a USB thing. And I have batteries with me all the time for my lights. But if I need to like charge my phone or something, I'm going to have a way to do that. I don't know why this is like the most groundbreaking thing that's ever happened, but like, why isn't this more of a thing? I would love that. Because the battery packs are like the heaviest part for the lights. And if I could just have one battery pack to Well, I guess that wouldn't work if I have more than one running. Never mind. It's supposedly pink and blue, so I hope it actually looks like that. I guess we'll see. Oh, you know what? Screw that. I don't need to put the batteries in. I have a USB port right here because that's what my phone is plugged into. Well, it's charging right now. Why do I make everything more difficult on myself? Oh my God, it's so good. Is that coming up at all? You know what? Let's turn some lights off. That will help. Oh my God, I'm so excited. There we go. How fun. I love that it's two different colors against something black. It's really washed out on camera because it's like too bright, but I love it. Oh, I love it so much. Oh, I'm so glad I bought this. Do you see how delighted I am? I want people to be delighted by this. Fun. I think this was maybe $10 as well, which is more than reasonable. Like, if this gets me through this season, I'll be happy. And then, like, I can look into maybe having a custom something made. I think these two things, the joy they have brought me, are worth the 20-something I spent on them. But yeah, this is like, I'm less scared to tote this around than I was before because I was a little nervous. I definitely think having something like this up high at something like Granitecon, where there's just so much to contend with, I think will be to my benefit. Because I'd be excited if a booth had a little bat light. I love him. Fun. Oh, I'm so happy. Okay. And I got a thing of 200 key rings, so I can put those other ones together and hopefully that will get me through. I mean, it'd be a good thing if I had to make more than 200 in the next month or two. Okay, I'm going to build this plant stand and then I'm going to get back to stitching this batch of dumpling pouches. I want these finished by today. Today's Tuesday, the 27th of August. I'm going away day after tomorrow and I have to work at the farmer's market tomorrow afternoon. So I only have like a half day tomorrow to pack, meal prep, do my laundry, get groceries, like all of that stuff. So I don't actually have any time to myself tomorrow. In addition to packing like my toiletries and stuff for Bert, because he's coming with me on this trip, I also need to pick out like what projects I'm going to work on. I want to figure out how to make a good foraging bag because I have friends that do mushroom foraging and I was gifted this like mesh netting from my fairy god Cheryl and I want to use it for a foraging bag, like a bright, obnoxious foraging bag where I have fabric that seems more well suited for that kind of color palette, but I don't want that. I want obnoxious. So I don't have a specific design in mind, but I'll have the noodling time because we're project friends. We're like board game and project friends. I usually bring too much stuff to work on. So I'll bring my like travel sewing machine and my kit. It's like a whole picnic basket I bring for my alterations nights. Yeah, we'll see what we get up to, but I got to make those decisions. I don't want to overpack, but I want to make sure I have enough for what I need for myself. I mean, we're also going to that art supply store. So like if I need materials, I will be able to acquire more. I know I've splurged on display stuff and a little bit of hardware, and I have those zippers coming, so that's more hardware I would call it. But my like big fabric splurge I do every year, I usually give myself $100 budget, but it's for that fabric shop. So I almost have to talk myself into spending that much, especially because it's a business expense. Like all that stuff gets used for more inventory. Like the first batch of sling bags I made, that was all fabric that I got from there. And I'm sold out of all of those prints, I think. Yeah, oh, definitely. 100% I am. I've had to reorder some of that fabric and it was a bitch to try to find. Because it was like rainbow skull fabric. That took a lot of hunting to find what that's called. And now that I have made more with that print after they sold out so fast, no one has bought any of them. So I don't know what that is. I don't know why that happens. If something's selling well and then I make more of it, then they don't sell at all. I'm like, but now I have enough for more people. Probably back to the customer psychology of like the scarcity myth or whatever, introducing an element of urgency if they think it's selling out. That's also part of not putting so much stock out that people think like, oh, I can come back later for this. Especially because so much of my stuff is a one-off. But if there's still like a lot of similar options to pick from, like if there's glow-in-the-dark green skulls next to the rainbow skulls, if one sells out, they can settle for the other one. That kind of thing, you know? All right, I'm gonna put this together. Watch more Sabrina. Finish these bags. Make some stroganoff for dinner. And go to bed at a reasonable hour. Because I have a busy day tomorrow, too. Okay, hi, gang. It probably hasn't been that long since I was on here. It's been a long week in a good way. I feel rested. I got to hide in the woods with some really good friends for a week. So very pleasant. But I have way more than I can handle to do this week. There are a couple things I wasn't planning on doing this week. I didn't realize or something got updated and I didn't check, but thankfully someone separately messaged me. Oh, I ordered more zippers. Right. Okay, there's that. So this is the rest of whatever I ordered. Oh, right, I got my light. I completely forgot about that. I knew this was going to happen. I now have like a little storage pod to go on top of my car because I have some very generous friends that had it for an old car of theirs and don't need it anymore. And I could definitely use it for like the duffel bags of clothes and stuff when I go to events and certain display things. But I got just like an assortment of these because I forget how many zippers I go through doing the mini bags. Which makes sense, but like I forget. And then I got some white ones as well. So I think that's going to be my focus as far as inventory building. I did get a custom order for a Howl's Moving Castle jacket and a Ramona Flowers subspace bag. I do not think I'm going to have either of those in time for the market this weekend because I was going to do like some extras to have stock, but I need to prioritize other things. And I have some mini bags like kind of started, like I cut out the outer panels, maybe some linings, maybe some interfacing. So I'd really just like to fill out that part of my stand, which leads me to this. I don't know. Oh yeah, there's a little preview of the other rack that I got. I genuinely feel so good about the display upgrades that I have made. I did build the other one. It actually went together pretty easily. This one I think will also go easily. And it seems like everything's really adjustable, which is exactly what I wanted. So maybe I can even take this apart and put this in the roof rack. Here's a little stand for it. The center pole. And then all the separate guys. I'm just gonna improvise and assume I know how this goes together. Because there's two washers down bottom and a big nut. I assume that goes through the base here. Perhaps? Yes. Okay. And then there's some little feet I can put on here. If it's just this one bolt, I'm absolutely gonna do this as like a modular system. Because it looks like, right, this, and then there's two pulls I can put in. That's it, huh? How tall am I? Oh yeah, I guess this is 5 feet. Goes up to here. I am pushing 6 feet, so no, this is perfect. This is absolutely perfect. I think this is gonna be a game changer. I really hope so. I am putting my whole ass and then some into this upcoming season of markets because the summer was tough. I mean, I felt like I was doing that throughout the summer, but like spending more and more time doing market research and what have you, and making this kind of investment. Like, it's a good thing. It's a good thing. And then I need junky scissors. Do not use fabric shears on shit like zip ties. How do I cut you? I was using kitchen scissors to cut up some fabric, and it was like pain in the ass fabric too. Like really durable mesh fabric, and then some waxed canvas. Tricky to start with, but I also, yeah, didn't have proper scissors for it. So that was really, really difficult. It just made me really appreciate the scissors that I do have. Because sometimes I'm like, is it excessive to have a bunch of different types of scissors for different things and like keeping them precious and not using them for anything else, even paper? But then I use scissors that aren't meant for fabric like that, and I'm like, oh yeah, no, it is worth being particular about what tools get used where. Okay, I'm gonna noodle around with this for a bit, and listen, this is gonna go up after the event I'm doing this weekend, so I think I'm just gonna wait and do a big reveal there, and you can see what I came up with for my layout. I have a very clear image in my head. I'm very much looking forward to sharing it. He was so good on the ride back home. I will say, listen, he's 16 and then some. I got very anxious on the ride to my friend's place. It's like 3 hours away. Bert was acting real weird, and I don't know if he was just dehydrated and needed some water. We did stop partway on our trek so that I could, you know, walk him around, stretch his legs, kind of see how he was moving, how his mobility was, to see if he was like lethargic or whatever, and then if I could get him to drink some water. I think I gave him some treats too, because he's the goodest boy. Hi, me again to pop in and say Bert is in fact fine. If you missed the part at the beginning of me giving that disclaimer, I just kind of left that hanging in the air and completely jumped track to whatever else I'm about to talk about. So I just wanted you to know you have to worry about him. He's snoozing away on the couch. Bless that little guy. Okay, back to whatever topic change I jumped into in this earlier clip. I also don't know why I'm like this. Oh, and I like developed a new bag. It's not done. I'm in the midst of making a mushroom gathering bag, and I feel really good about it. I just got to figure out a strap situation, and I need to look at the fabric I have in-house here, and then yeah, go from there, see what I can come up with. Okay, hi, me again. I kept talking about the mushroom bag but not showing you, and I'm really excited about it, where I used the sling bag pattern and just had mesh fabric for the sides. It's like pretty sturdy mesh, not super flimsy. And then I did waxed canvas for the sides here. So I have a nice open pocket over here. I have some ripstop nylon for the lining. And then the pocket on this side I did in half. So if you have like tools you want to put in there, that'll be good. So the way this bag sits is, I haven't decided on the straps. If you have any input, please feel free to share. I'm gonna bind to the edges here. Like I did on the inside, I just put some bias tape around since this doesn't have a lining for obvious reasons. And yeah, I don't know if I just do quilting cotton for the strap. I think that'd be the most comfortable, but if any of you forage, I don't personally, I just have friends that do, and I got this mesh fabric and I just got this project stuck in my craw and needed to figure it out. But when it sits, because the strap comes off these pieces, the waxed canvas side is going to be what's against your body, so it's going to keep you dry, because that part's waterproof, where obviously the mesh is not. But yeah, I'm really excited about this, and I forgot about this project entirely until watching this footage back. So I'm gonna keep this on my like on deck pile. Okay, back to previous timeline me. Thanks for sticking through the chaos of this video. All right, I will see you with whatever my next update is. Perhaps that's my setup. I feel like the rest of the week is going to go by really fast because I also have my first MRI this week, and I'm trying not to think about it just because I don't know what to expect, and that's what makes me really anxious. If I can't like picture what I have to do or what the process is, I don't know. So I'm trying to just think of it as like any other appointment, going into a doctor's office. They did do a whole screening. I think I have to remove my nail polish, so I expected more to have chipped off after a week away and it was already coming apart, but I wasn't working. So I think my hands had some time to just exist and not be used as tools for a stretch of time there. I keep trying to sign off and then coming up with something else to ramble about. So I'm going to actually sign off for real now. And yeah, I'll see you when I see you.
Welp. The original event I was gonna premiere everything at, it was prepping for, I didn't end up doing because I blacked out at the hospital. I'm doing okay now. There's some stuff I gotta get checked out, obviously. It's not the first time I fainted. I have a very strong history of it. I've been learning a lot the past couple days about why my body does some of the things it does. If anybody knows anything about vasovagal syncope and or POTS and or any kind of syncope, even syncope from going to the bathroom, which is a fun thing that happens almost every day for me. So feel free to Google that or don't. It's a bad time in this meat sack some days. I don't know. There's stuff I've been dealing with for decades. You know, when I go in for a physical or for like a checkup for something specific and the doctor's like, "How are you?" If I listed all the things that were wrong, we'd be there all day. The more I've been learning, obviously there's going to be like years at the very least to go down this road, but there's potential for getting help from like a service dog. Yeah, I didn't feel well enough. It was too scared to go to the market on Saturday because I blacked out at the hospital Friday afternoon. I was getting an IV. I'll leave it at that just in case you're skeeved out by medical stuff. Although it wasn't from the IV, it was from the saline that they put in, but it doesn't matter. I mean, it matters to me, but like for story's sake, it doesn't matter. I canceled that spooky bitch market. I was so excited. I booked that in like March. Like I paid for this months ago and I had to call it. And I'm really proud of myself for making that decision and saying like, I can't safely work the event. Like I don't want to get hauled out of there in an ambulance. And when I'm nearing fainting just by like existing out in the world and it's not something like medically induced, there's enough lead up that I can stay ahead of it and not pass out, but I still don't feel well and like get close to that point, which is called pre-syncope. Learning new terminology is helpful and is making me gaslight myself less because I feel that way a lot. I didn't trust myself to be okay to do the event alone, and I was gonna have to leave my house at 6 a.m. to get there for a 7 a.m. load-in. Event started at 10, went till 6 p.m. Then it's minimum hour breakdown for outdoor setup for me, and then at least an hour home. That was going to be pushing it. Where if it was a mill number 5 event or something, it's half an hour away, and those are 4 hours. So something like that I could manage. I've been feeling pretty odd. LOL, Panic at the Disco reference. I did host emo night trivia last night, and it was so much fun to completely derail myself. I got a little choked up when people started singing along to some of the song clips I put together. It just happened. I was like, did something happen with the audio? Did I accidentally like double up a clip? Because it sounded like there was like a chorus of dashboard confessional happening. And no, it was the room like erupting into song, and it was the absolute best. It was a lot of fun. This whole week, like my brain has been very foggy and my stomach, like right now it feels fine. This is the best it's felt all week, making sure to hydrate, but I feel revived enough to go do my market for tomorrow because that is also half an hour away and it's 5 hours, and my sister's gonna come by, so I'll at least have someone close by. I have vendor friends that like I know would have my back if I needed help with anything, and the people that run the event are also like very clearly invested in like the well-being of all of the vendors. If something happens, like I know I'll be taken care of, but I don't want to put that on anybody, because, like, as I said, it's an hour breakdown for me. Who knows where everything goes and, like, the quickest way to go about it. So, and how to, like, Tetris the car so everything fits in there. Tomorrow's event, I will officially premiere everything. Just trying to breathe. It's hard. I feel like I keep floating away, as just happened. So keeping myself in my own head, and not just dissociating all the time is proving difficult this week. But we're getting there. I have not done a ton of, like, sewing work. That's not even true. I busted out one Howl's Moving Castle cardigan in the course of the day Monday and got that sent out. And then I even had to, like, quilt the panels together, like the striped panels, to make the argyle that becomes the main pieces of the cardigan. So that's always so time consuming. And it has a lining because the pieces are quilted. So it's a whole thing. There's a reason I charge so much for it. And honestly, I don't think I'm charging enough for how labor intensive it is. And then I had 2 custom Ramona Flowers bag orders. So I got one out. The other one is almost done. I have all the panels, like, put together. So it's the front with the piping, the back with the piping, and this has the zippered pouch. This is the most time consuming part, is getting these put together. I used to do a drop-in lining, but for a 3D round bag like this, it would hang from the zipper here and just, like, droop inside. So I do like sewing it together this way and then just binding the edges. I'm finding it holds its shape better, looks cleaner, like the edges look cleaner. And then, oh, I have new hardware too. I started adding these star zipper pulls to match whatever hardware. I should just start putting it as an option, like a drop-down menu option, because I like the rainbow on there, because who wouldn't? But someone requested silver, and I have no problem doing, like, the nickel-plated one instead of the anodized metal, so that's fine. And then I already put together the adjustable bag strap with matching hardware. So it's got little carabiner clips here. And then this is the binding I'm going to use, since it's like a mostly white floral pattern on the inside. I thought it would make sense to have, like, a matching color in some way, floral design on the inside. So I did get all that done, and then just, like, regular life things, like doing groceries and stuff on Wednesday, and then also prepping a trivia night. I did some, I do this thing where I get hard on myself. If I have a list of things I want to get done in a week and then I don't get all those things done, it's like I completely dismiss the stuff I did do. So I'm trying not to do that. I'm trying to practice kindness to myself, which is not particularly easy a lot of the time. But I'm doing a lot better with that than I ever expected I could. Like, I wasn't absolutely agonizing all weekend and all week for missing that event. Like, it sucks and I'm disappointed I couldn't do it, but I was, for once, prioritizing myself instead of, like, letting the people pleaser part of me take over and be like, I can't disappoint the coordinator. I gotta show up. They can't just have, like, an empty booth there. I'm letting everybody down. Like, no, if I had to get hauled out of there on a stretcher, I think that's I think that's going to be more difficult for everybody, mostly me. So I think I'm going to pass. But I'm feeling well enough to tackle tomorrow. And then, like, if I'm way out of whack in the morning, I'll just text the coordinator and let her know. I also have Granitecon next weekend, so I had initially asked about doing a market Sunday as well, because I missed last Saturday. So I was like, oh, I'll just do a double header this coming weekend. And then thankfully I realized how insane that is, given how I've been feeling. So I never, like, confirmed with the person. I didn't pay. There wasn't much communication at all, but they apparently had put together the materials, the promotional materials for the event, including me in it, without like actually discussing it with me. I had reached out and asked for more info, and then they wrote back and were like, oh, this was on Sunday. They're like, yeah, I'll get back to you with more info. I'm on my phone right now, but I have like a detailed explanation of things and the cost of it on my laptop. So it was Tuesday when they got that to me, and I completely forgot to reply because, again, foggy brain week. And I was battling with myself as far as like, do I do it? Do I not do it? It's $100. All the other events I'm doing pretty much I paid for months and months ago. So throwing another 100 down to try to make some of the other money back didn't seem like a safe investment for what the physical strain is going to be on Sunday. So I don't need to be hard on myself for this. See, the therapy's been working. Which is also to say, I finished therapy on Monday, which is pretty wild. I've been doing it for 3 years, which seems like not a real thing. I can't believe it's been 3 years. I never thought I could be at the place mentally I am. Or like, obviously, I'm having a hard week this week, but I am still functional enough. And I haven't been beating myself up too much about having to make like disappointing decisions, because they gotta happen for like the better of my existence. And I'm not gonna help a vendor event if I'm like all zonked and weird and then like someone watches me black out behind my table. Like, nobody wants that. So I'm doing okay. The fact I prioritize myself is good. And then the fact I haven't been like really, really mean to myself for having to back out. So fingers crossed tomorrow goes well. Again, like, see how I'm feeling in the morning. But I do want to try to get a couple of these keychain bags turned into dog bag holders in time for tomorrow. It's just a couple minutes of sewing to do like a whole batch of them, because I just box out the corners and then I do a little buttonhole in the side, and then the rest of the steps, like cutting the threads and cutting the buttonhole open, I can just do on the couch or at the event tomorrow. So I have a small batch. There's like 9 of them, because I only have like 3 of this, and I want to at least be able to fill my like 10-prong rack. So this will be a good move for that. And then if I get this done, like, I will be, even just a couple of them, I'll be plenty happy. It's like 5:30 Friday night. I am going to grill some dinner tonight. I already have things all prepped and like marinated and ready to go on. So I will eat a very good meal this evening, and I'm very much looking forward to that. But I guess I will check in the morning, and then you can finally see my setup. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I hope you're all doing well and taking care of yourselves. See you in the morning.
Okay, good morning. It is Saturday, and I am all set up to go to the market. All packed up to go to the market. I still got to do the setup stuff. And I'm feeling good. Like, feeling as good as I ever do. My body has been particularly sore, but that's the least of my concerns at this moment. So yeah, I packed a bunch of snacks, a bunch of drinks. I have breakfast sandwiches for the ride, and I was gonna stop to get gas beforehand, but I'll be able to make it there. I'll just need gas on the way back. I don't like doing that to myself, but oops. I'm gonna put on some music and mosey my way up to Concord. Fingers crossed today's a good day. I'm really excited about the new displays, but I'm about 5 minutes behind what I wanted to be, so I'm gonna go do the thing. See you there.
It's so hot, but surviving. I've only made a couple sales, but already made twice my table back, so I'll take it. How are you? Good. Thank you. It's always fun seeing people's reaction to it. It's always very funny seeing people's customer service face. And, like, I feel like my voice goes up 3 octaves. But I just had my second breakfast sandwich. I have a liquid death, almost done. We're like halfway through. It's a little after 12:30. And this goes from 10 till 3. Is that good math? Yeah. I sold one of my saddlebags to a fellow artiste. I was very excited about it. And then just a bunch of mini bags. I'm really, really, really liking the new stands that I have. I think they're helping, like, watching people walk over to them and them not having to come into the booth necessarily to shop them. I think it's just a better way to display it. Like, that kind of rack, it just looks less cluttered than how I had it before, and you can see everything. So I do think when I do my next indoor market, I'm going to have that rack, like, tabletop, and see how that goes. There's a lot of very cute dogs. My sister and my older nephew and one of their dogs came to see me, and the pup always gets so excited, and I assume that's just how she greets everyone. But my sister was like, she doesn't even act like this when she sees me, and I'm her person. It's like, sorry, we're besties. This is also the dog that's crippled with fear by Bert's presence in general. Also, I got bored at my last market, and I painted all this. No, I did it at home because it was with Posca pens. But then I realized I couldn't see the dots at the top to see how charged it was. But yeah, I sold, let's see, 3 dumpling pouches, 2 card wallets, and a saddlebag. So, as per usual, I don't need to make, like, a ton of separate sales to make costs back, but I haven't made a sale probably in like an hour, so just trying not to get too discouraged, because it's a lot of work for, like, not a lot of pay, you know? But all in all, like, I have still profited from today. I haven't, like, paid myself back for all of the racks I got. I also just got a table clamp situation. I think what I have to do this coming week is do a test setup at home to see what I'm going to do with my Granitecon table, because there's very limited space. Usually the tables are, like, butted right up against each other, so even, like, getting clamps on the side of my table might prove difficult. So I hope I can just get there as early as possible, set up my stuff as far as the display things, and I'll have time to, like, noodle around with it. I think doing a mock-up will be good. even though I don't want to have to do it, but I should. I'm going to have to repack my car no matter what because I'm doing an indoor setup. So I don't need all of the stuff that I'm going to have with me. All right, I'm going to eat a snack and then I will update later.
Yep. That makes sense. And then there's always an excuse.
Okay, update. We are in the last half hour of the market and I have now tripled my booth fee, so not mad about that. Been slow, but there's been a ton of people coming in my booth, so I feel like the updates I have made have been good. So we'll see how things go the rest of the season. Okay, wish me luck for the last half hour. Maybe people will clear me out. Even though that'd be stressful because then I not have inventory for next weekend, which is a 2-day event. So there's a fine line to walk. And I have zero balance.
All right, AC is cranked up. Oh, that was a hot one. But I am gonna figure out what this car in front of me is doing. I have broken down my setup. I'm gonna loop around the park and go put everything in the car. Yeah, I made 3 times my table cost. So I haven't earned back what I lost on the insurance that I had to pay for last week's event I missed, but I at least have covered the table cost for that. So better than nothing, you know? This was also the last one in this park, Rollins Park in Concord, New Hampshire for the season. Not that the Concord group that does this isn't going to do more events later in the year. I think I'm signed up for at least 2, and then I applied for the holiday ones, which last year those were 2 of my best selling events, so I would like to get into those again. My stuff is too unique, as someone said earlier today. I'm trying to be better about not being hard on myself and like giving myself those little windows of like recuperation in between tasks, because I feel so much worse when I just try to like power through all of it and get it done. Like I have to take breaks throughout the process of setting up and things like this. Like I would like to go get my stuff because it's just on its own. Okay, I'm feeling regulated and like I can go finish the rest of this up. I don't know what I'm doing for food, but what I desperately need is a shower. I need to get home and take a shower, and then I will figure out the rest of my day. You know, although like I was talking to somebody else about the market last weekend that I missed and how they did pretty well. They're excited for like next year because this was its first year happening, so it's only gonna get better, I suspect, going forward, which is awesome. And they were like, the vibes were immaculate. So like really, really great event runners. And they promoted the absolute hell out of it for months and months. Like I did a Instagram live interview with them. It was like half an hour, and they did that with everybody that was willing to do it. And I think that's a great way to get people's names out there. I'm going to suggest that to some of my other markets that I do, just to be like, it was a good excuse to like, I don't know. That's the kind of stuff I put on in the background, is like creator chats or whatever. Talking to Jackie Hansen, who any of y'all that are part of my mail time perk, the sunflower art that I sent out, that was her. She was asking like, so is this your full-time gig? And I had to like sit and think about it. I was like, yes and no. This is the least stable part of my job, is like the Etsy sales and the market sales. It's like selling my stuff. And then I work part-time at a brewery, but most of my shifts there are actually just like self-generated work. So like alterations nights, I'm just there for whoever's going to pay me to do work, or I work on my own stuff, but I'm not getting paid hourly for that or anything. And then I get a flat rate for hosting trivia. So that's like freelance work. So I don't actually work for the brewery all that often. And then I thought about it and I was like, to be honest, I get the most consistent income every month because of all y'all over on Patreon. I know I say this every time, but I cannot emphasize enough how I wouldn't be able to do this without y'all. So thank you for helping me do the dang thing. Like, I get to keep doing this and then, you know, not spiral out of control over missing a market. Like, if I didn't have the Patreon income, I would have pushed through and probably been hauled out of that market last weekend in the back of an ambulance, which is not what I wanted to be dealing with. But I was able to take that loss, just take it on the chin, and get through the rest of the month and still be able to pay my rent with that backbone of my earnings every month. So thank you a million times over. Okay. I have sat for a full 10 minutes. I'm actually going to go, but thank you so much for being here for all of this. I hope this was interesting. I'm really excited about the new displays. I did do like a quick little test to see how reasonable it is to put my new displays, like the plant stand and like a shorter version of the spinning rack, on top of my table. And I actually think it's going to work out beautifully for next weekend. I still should probably do a mock-up. Yeah, I guess we'll see. I guess I could hang stuff off the side of the plant stands. I gotta make sure nobody took all my stuff. I will see you back here in 2 Fridays with another video. Thank you so much for hanging out. Neat, 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 neat. Cool, cool, cool. Sick, tight. All right. But just like knowing my time isn't my own, even if it's for something super fun and enjoyable, I like get weirdly resentful. Demand avoidance. That's what that is. That's what that is. I didn't think about it in that context. We've had a psychological breakthrough. Well, that's my cue to go.